What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Levin back at it again, finally with the long awaited Q&A video. I'm dead serious when I mean long awaited. Some of these questions have been asked since literally last year, so I think it's important to get to them and finally answer them so I can get it out of my conscience. And I really hope you guys like some of these like the setup, vibrant plushies, figures, amiibos, squishmallows. Don't mind the trash bag, but I feel like it's important to have it there just because sometimes I do feel like trash and I need to remind myself that I'm trash so I can humble myself. So without wasting more of your guys' time, let's get right into some of these questions because again, we've been waiting more than a couple months now. So we're gonna start it off with your boy Red, and Red asks, what are your goals as a content creator and how do you plan to achieve them? Ever since the beginning, my initial goals with content creation have just been to put myself out there, get myself out of the bubble of just trying to suppress a lot of the things that I go through or just like the ideas that I have. And what I mean by that is like the content creation gears are always working, whether it be me wanting to make like a just kind of a video like this, me wanting to show some gameplay of a certain game that I'm currently into, or just anything that comes to mind. Honestly, from the beginning I really just was inspired by people such as the Angry Video Game Nerd. There was a YouTuber by the name of Brawmaster08 back in the day that used to make these really awesome rant style videos, really informative, really well structured rant style videos. Sadly, they're not around anymore on the YouTube space, I think so. And it's just people like that that really inspired me to want to put out content. And I've been making content since like Smosh was on top of YouTube, since Fred was #1 subscribed on the platform. And so I've gone through many iterations of myself here on the internet. And I feel like this version is the one that's honestly like more me, just because I feel like I know myself more as a person back when I was just a little teenager, a little kid. And I feel like my goals now are to just make sure that I'm consistent with things, right? It's more or less about me putting myself on check, having that one thing that is always on my mind, because at this point we built a really amazing, really supportive community that I feel like I can't let down, right? They spent hours just, you know, either watching my streams, supporting my videos, following me on my social media platforms, checking up on me on Discord, and I feel like I just need to stay true to that, right? I just can't give up on it. It's not like I want to give up on it. I definitely don't. I have a lot of ambitions, you know. I would love to work with companies. I would love to meet other content creators in the same space as I am, and I just, you know, I just do not want to give up on it. So I guess my current goal is to just put myself on check and just continue to do it in a very frequent manner, right? In a very healthy but frequent manner. Red also asks, are you happy with where you're at? Is there anything that you would change? I think currently, when it comes to just solely content creation, I'm not happy with where I'm at. And I'm not talking about numbers, I'm not talking about views or anything like that. I just feel like I take a look back at when I was doing YouTube, when I was putting out videos, when I was streaming on YouTube, when I first switched over to Twitch, and how hard I was grinding for things like affiliate, getting back the numbers that I got on YouTube, and, you know, trying to grow my audience as much as possible and delivering content as frequently as possible. And I think I really dropped the ball, honestly. Like, being transparent as possible, I feel like I just really dropped the ball. There really isn't anything that happened in my life that like has prevented me from going live, hitting the go live button, just playing whatever game I was already gonna plan on playing, and just hitting the go live button over on OBS. And so I feel like I need that consistency. I need to put myself on check once again and really reevaluate what it was that really made me want to make content and stream in the first place. So I feel like that's definitely something that I desperately am trying to work on. And this past week, right, I streamed 2 days in a row. I might not seem like crazy, but compared to before, it was something that I really lacked, you know, streaming like back to back, and it honestly felt great, right? I was just playing games that I wanted to play, and I just hit the go live button. People were there, people played games alongside me, and it was just a great time. And I really need to get back on that for sure. Next up, we have your boy Rex, and Rex asks, would you quit Twitch for $1 million? And now this is a very selfish question. You know, I feel like in the position that I am currently financially, you know, they're not really struggling or anything like that, but I really need to take a look at what it is that I would benefit from getting the $1 million, right? I would lose my platform. I had been working on my Twitch page for quite a bit now. I would lose that following. I would lose the support that people have given me for a long time. I would eventually sell out, but at the same time, I'm taking into consideration the fact that I'm just an average person, right? I don't get sponsorship deals. I don't work with major brands. So content creation, honestly, for me, is just kind of like a hobby, right? I have bills to pay. I'm married, and so I want to do things with my life. I have a family as well, you know, my parents. I don't have kids or anything like that. I feel like I probably, honestly, selfishly, I would probably take the $1 million, right? If I'm being realistic about it, I would probably end up doing it, right? Because I feel like if you were to tell me later on, and if I ever had like millions and millions of followers, I would obviously tell you no. But I feel like currently I probably realistically will, to be honest, because there's other platforms out there. It's not preventing me. The question is, would you quit content creation as a whole? Because I would probably say no. But I could obviously just go back to YouTube, or just try to find somewhere else where I could post content. There's always TikTok, there's Instagram, there's a million other places. And I feel like letting go of Twitch wouldn't be that difficult if somebody would just be like, look, here's a briefcase of $1 million, delete your channel, and this is yours. Guaranteed, no strings attached besides you having to delete your channel. Realistically, honestly, I would probably do it. And to be honest, with the way that Twitch is operating currently, with all the problems that have arose ever since I switched over to Twitch, it wouldn't be that difficult. Next up, we have a question from Addicted to Electronics, and she asks, what is your favorite thing about Undertale? Now, I could make a whole video essay about Undertale. I could go on and on about Undertale. I've played Undertale 2 different ways, pacifist and a genocide run, and I feel like that game really spoke to me. That was one of the few games that I actually wanted to really learn more about the lore and watch countless videos. The music is immaculate. The Toby Fox is just such an amazing person. Knock on wood, Toby Fox, do not disappoint me. But yes, I think at the time when I found out about Undertale was through Etika, and it was through his genocide run that I was like so intrigued with Undertale. The way that he made these boss fights, these events, just feel so important, and just really struck with me. And just the message, right? The message of Undertale, the message of friendship, the message of, you know, how power, you know, can corrupt you, is just so strong to me, and it just really spoke to me. And I just feel like, again, I cannot do it justice just by answering one single question without going on a big rant about it. But yes, Undertale is one of my favorite games of all time, and I just really love the message, the music, just how I found out about it, and the person who played it that introduced me to it. It just holds a very special place in my heart. Next up, we have a question from I Am Squid, and they ask, with the recent changes of Twitch's TOS, do you plan on streaming on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time to help the YouTube channel? Now, this question was asked around like August of last year, so this question is very dated, but at the time this is a very hot topic between in the Twitch community. One of the things that a lot of people have tried to do was try to grow 2 platforms at a time, right? Twitch and YouTube. And what some people do who are not affiliated or partnered with YouTube is they multi-stream, right? You stream on 2 platforms or maybe even more at a time. And for a bit there, if you were a Twitch affiliate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that if you were a Twitch affiliate or especially a Twitch partner, you could not do that, right? You have to wait a certain amount of time before you post that content over on another platform. And honestly, I thought about that, right? I have definitely thought about it, and I'm still debating on if I should do that, right? Because I think it would be beneficial, because when I was used streaming over on YouTube, it was my bread and butter, right? Streaming on YouTube. And I actually spoke about this recently about how I really enjoyed the grind over on YouTube, making thumbnails, and just the vibe of it was really, really awesome. And it definitely helped grow my channel, right? I wasn't posting a whole lot of videos, but I made up for it by streaming pretty consistently over here on YouTube. And obviously on Twitch, it's more centered around streaming. And I feel like once I shifted my focus over on Twitch, the YouTube channel definitely, it really felt like it was neglected quite a bit. So it's definitely something that I do want to consider, and I definitely am going to look more into it because I don't know the full details about it. I don't know if there's any nuances to it, so it's definitely something that I will look into. Next up, we have your boy Pancakes, aka Lil Bro, aka Panqueque, and they asked, "Hey man, how are you doing?" "I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking." They say, "Wow, that's great to hear." It's almost like if we're having a conversation. And they say, "Okay, so my first question, I just want to know, I was just wondering if you, cough, cough, have any potential sponsors maybe that start with the G." Now, again, this question was asked back in August, so I'm not too sure about what it was that they were referring to. I kind of forget what it was. I don't know if I mentioned anything about a potential sponsorship that starts with the G, but no, honestly, sadly, I feel like right now, currently, when it comes to sponsorship opportunities, I feel like, again, it's just one of those things that I haven't been really consistent with my streams and my videos and whatnot, and so I feel like it's just one of those situations where it hasn't really arose due to my lack of consistency with the content that I post. And the other question that they ask is, how is DBE going? Any new announcements? So DBE, again, is my esports team. I've started it last year around the same time, honestly, that this question was asked. And it's just one of those things that, like, I cannot reveal anything that we're working on the back end of things because nothing is set in stone, nothing is concrete. So I don't want to have to put something out there and hype everybody up and then it doesn't happen, and then I have this video as a reminder of that disappointment that I let down people just because I hyped them up and it never really came through fruition. So there are a lot of really exciting things on the back end with DBE going on, a lot of current things that I'm really excited for. We have a summit, which is essentially an invitational tournament where we invite some really amazing players, and they just duke it out for a prize pool, and I'm really excited. There's a lot of other things that are happening with DBE that are just really get me hyped, really happy with the way things are going, so look forward to that. Next up, we have questions from none other than the legendary Pyro, and they ask, "How's it going, man? I haven't been around much because I've been busy with school and I've been spending my free time with cat and stuff. Just gotta check in on the homie, you know? Thank you so much, dude. I'm really happy that you are doing great, that, you know, you're focusing on school. As somebody who works in the school district, it brings that happiness to me that you are focusing on that. But other than that, I've been doing great. Things are going really good. Just really happy, and thank you for asking me." Next up, they ask, "Can I get a shout out?" Of course. I'm gonna put a picture of your Twitch, or I mean on your YouTube. Go subscribe to the homie Pyro. And then they ask, "What are your future plans with the channel? And also, what kind of capture card do you use, and how big of a hole will it burn into my pockets?" All right, so to answer your first question, what are your future plans with your channel? So the way that I see it is, again, I mentioned this before, but I made a separate channel specifically for Smash Brothers content, and the reason being is because I felt like for a while that was kind of my crutch, right? If I didn't really have a solid video idea, I would just resort to something relating to Smash Brothers, whether it be a stream highlight video of me playing Smash Brothers or me coming up with some sort of challenge with Smash Brothers. And so the problem, and which is honestly a problem that I had currently with my Twitch page, is that I didn't really want to be known as just that one trick pony, that dude who just posts Smash Brothers content for the sake of posting Smash Brothers content, or streaming Smash Brothers tournaments just because that's just easy sort of content. Because realistically speaking, hosting a Smash Brothers tournament and streaming some of these matches is kind of free content, not gonna lie. And so I really just want to get out of my bubble, make more videos, whether it be stream highlights of me doing something else, reacting to videos or whatever, or actually coming up with an interesting idea for videos, whether it be making sure that I write a script for something that I'm thinking about or just want to vent about, or just, you know, doing whatever else it is that it has nothing really to do with Smash Brothers Ultimate. I take a look back at some of the videos that I made. I made videos talking about internet news, or just, again, challenge videos, really interesting stream highlights. And so I want to do stuff like that, right? Stuff that interests me and stuff that I'm currently into at the time, because I'm interested in a lot of different things, right? A lot of different topics. If I had to compare myself, if I had to compare the ideas that I have, I would kind of compare it to like I don't know, a Moist Critical, because I really like his structure of just talking about things that he's into, random things, random topics, while also talking about, he does movie reviews, video game reviews, or show reviews. And he also mixes in some gameplay, some interesting, some funny things that happen. And so if I were to have any sort of inspiration, I really, really like the way that he structures his channel. And to quickly answer the question about the capture card, the capture card that I currently have is the Elgato HD60 Plus, or HD60 Plus S, or something like that, one of those versions. And I honestly would recommend that if that's what you want to go with quality, that you raise up a little bit of money, because honestly, I've had this capture card for quite a bit now. It hasn't given me any issues, and it works amazing, right? It really honestly works amazing. You cannot go wrong with an Elgato capture card. But if you're looking for something to get you started, to just get you through the door, there's countless of other capture cards that could do the job just as well, or, you know, at least get you your foot into the content creation game. I remember my very first capture card honestly only cost me 15 bucks, and it was just this cheap little thing, this cheap little converter that I bought off eBay. And honestly, that did the job, right? It got me started with content creation. It allowed me to record some of these games that I really wanted to make content for. And so honestly, I would recommend getting into that, just so that you could get your footing into content creation. And then later on, as you raise up a little bit more money, you save up, then I would honestly recommend getting that if that's what you want to do with content. Next up, we have Toby, and they ask, remember me? Of course I do remember Toby. Toby has been one of the biggest contributors when it comes to fan art. Such a very, very talented person. They have been such a big contributor to my Emiko, my OC. Emiko is the mascot of my entire thing online, and so Toby has very much been such a big part of that. And I feel like, if anything, I have done such kind of a shit job at just keeping up with you and how you're doing, but I really hope that you're doing good. And yeah, I always remember you. Next up, Toby asks, what was your dream job when you were a child? Now, when I was a little kid, before my teens, I don't really remember what it was that I wanted to do. It must have been something super simple, like a doctor or a firefighter or something like that. But as I started to get older and get into my teen phase, I wanted to be a rock star. I remember I really wanted to be a rock star, but I can't play an instrument. I can't sing to save my life. So that was quickly thrown out the window. And then I also had ambitions to be a chef or a video game designer. Right now, the chef one came through from, you know, watching my mom cook for us, dinner every single day for my family. I grew up in a Hispanic household, and I just really took inspiration from that, and just, you know, watching videos with Gordon Ramsay or just through the Food Network or whatever. I always had ambitions to want to get better at cooking, and I still really do. Right, over the years, I've tried to learn how to make some of these recipes that my mom has made, or just recipes of food that I'm personally really into. And I hope to still do that, you know, maybe not as a career, but still just for my own sake, right? Next up, we have Fito, and they ask, is 11 okay? And 11 is currently okay, thankfully. And again, thank you guys so much for asking me, starting off that way, how are you doing, 11? Is everything okay with 11? Is 11 actually okay? And yes, 11 is currently okay. And I feel like that's where my state of mind is always at. You know, I'm not doing bad. Maybe sometimes I'm not doing extremely good, or just good in general, but I will always pretty much just be okay. Next up, we have Robbie, and Robbie asks, what is your favorite game series? Now, honestly, this is a question that I have asked myself quite a bit, because I take a look at games like the platforming series, right? The platforming genre, like Mario, and also Zelda and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is my favorite game series, right? And I hate to say and be basic, but honestly, like I really am a big fan of the Mario series, just with the way that I grew up playing those games. I'm also a big fan of Destiny, even if I'm not a big, I'm not currently super invested as I once was in the Destiny franchise. I spent a lot of my teenage years just playing Destiny 1 and eventually Destiny 2. And it's just something that I don't know. This question is very hard because I feel like I pick and choose with some of these games in certain series, right? Because like, for example, I kind of really like the Halo series. I didn't grow up with it, but I'm not a big fan of the Halo franchise past Halo 3, right? I don't know. I just feel like the game series question is kind of difficult for me, but just to keep it basic and just to give you an answer right now, it'd probably be the Mario series or just Destiny. Next up, they ask, what is your favorite game genre? Now, this for me, it's either between platforming or roguelike games. I'm a big fan of the platforming genre, and I really like whenever a game comes along and they involve platforming, like Celeste. I'm a big fan of Celeste. Really, really big fan of the way that they, made that game. But I'm also a big fan of games like The Binding of Isaac. Currently been playing a lot of Minecraft Dungeons, and I know that's not really a roguelike game, but I'm a big fan of looter shooters as well. And so the way that game works is kind of a mix of both worlds, with the things like the towers that you start off with none of the gear that you worked on in the regular adventure mode, and you don't keep the gear that you get. Every different tower level you get like different pieces of gear, and you could power them up, but you don't keep that gear. You get a big piece of gear at the end, but all the gear that you accumulated in that run was just strictly for that run, and if you die, you start all over again, right? And so I'm a big fan of roguelikes. I'm a big fan of platformers with the mix of RPG and as well as first person shooters here and there. And the last question from Robbie is, who would win, 1 trillion lions or one of every Pokemon? And now 1 trillion lions is a lot, but 1 trillion lions cannot fly. And honestly, I don't need one of every Pokemon. Just give me 1 Rayquaza and we're good, right? Rayquaza, snap, Thanos, completely obliterate the entire lineage of lions. We don't need one of every Pokemon to completely wipe out these 1 trillion lions. I don't know where they came from, but give me one of every Pokemon every day, all day, any day. Next up, I know these is getting long, but again, these are questions that have been accumulated for a while. We have Bravos, and they ask, Pokemon or Digimon? Now, this is kind of an easy answer for me. It's obviously going to be Pokemon, but I also am I really do enjoy Digimon, right? I'm kind of sad that I didn't really get into it too much, but I feel like the reason why I say Pokemon is because I'm a big fan of not only the games but also the anime, the merchandise, as you can kind of tell from the background. And I feel like with Digimon, it's just kind of lacked something for me, right? I feel like if I were to go into for example, like the Digimon anime currently, like right now as an adult, I feel like I would probably enjoy it a lot, just because I hear that it's kind of deep, kind of dark at some points, and I feel like I would kind of really enjoy it nowadays, right? Now that I'm fully able to process everything. Because if you take a look at the Pokemon anime, sure, it has its deep moments, sure, it has some moments that get you like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. For the most part, it's really easy to appeal to a younger audience. It's really easy for kids to pick up on the Pokemon thing. And with Digimon getting into such deep topics, I feel like it's kind of hard for a kid to comprehend such things, right? Not having really any life experience at all. So I feel like Digimon nowadays is something that I would really enjoy. I'm a big fan of Digimon. I feel like I've always thought that the Digi evolutions, or if that's how you even would call them now, is just batshit crazy with the routes that you could take with your Digimon or whatever. I also know that they have a card game that's just up and rising currently, and I'm a big fan of it too. I've started collecting some of these Digimon cards too, but honestly, it's gonna be Pokemon for me, to be honest. Like, I mean, look at the background. It's pretty easy to tell. Next up, brothers ask, Piplup or Oshawott? It's gonna be Piplup. I'm a big fan of Piplup. I'm a big fan of penguins in general. Penguins are my favorite animal of all time. I'm sorry, Oshawott, you're cute as fuck, but it's gonna be Piplup. Next up, Bravos asks, favorite YouTuber? Now, I'm a big fan of H3 Productions. I'm also a big fan of Hungrybox, although he doesn't really post a lot of original content. Most of his content is like stream highlights that I've already watched while watching his stream. But honestly, I don't really have a favorite YouTuber, right? Like one YouTuber that I just sit down and could watch all the time. I guess the one that I feel like is kind of like a comfort pick for me would probably be the Angry Video Game Nerd or James Rolfe in general. I feel like James Rolfe puts a lot of like different content out there with the Angry Video Game Nerd series. He used to do a series called James and Mike Mondays, where every Monday they would play a different game, and it's just a thing, honestly. Like I fall asleep to that. Like I just put on a playlist of every single James and Mike Monday video that they've ever made, and I just fall asleep to it as background noise. Like some people like to have a fan on, some people like to have white noise on. I put James and Mike Mondays to fall asleep, and so I feel like I would probably end up picking James Rolfe. Next up, we have Slight Sinner, aka Thomas, and Thomas asks, when would be the return to Titanfall 2? Thomas, being one of the biggest, if not the biggest Titanfall 2 fan, really encouraged me to play Titanfall 2 quite a while back, and I feel like Titanfall 2, for the bit that I did play it, both multiplayer and single player, was really, honestly, really fun. But I have a big problem with sticking with certain games, right? I feel like I used to do the thing where I would try games on stream just once and then I would never return to them, right? Because I had a problem with just starting games and never fully seeing them through to fruition. And I hope to one day, just sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna play Titanfall 2, because it's not a bad game by any means necessary, but it's actually a game that I enjoyed, and I feel like I should come back to it at some point. Especially, I feel like it would take Titanfall 3 to be announced for me to be like, okay, I gotta play Titanfall 2 for me to be comfortable with playing Titanfall 3, if that makes any sense. Alrighty, so Victini Plays is next up, and they ask, will you ever do a Plants vs. Zombie playthrough? I probably won't do a playthrough of Plants vs. Zombies, but maybe I could delve into something like that over on my streams. I feel like in a stream setting, it could definitely be something very more casual. It can honestly be kind of fun to do, to be honest, because I am a big fan of Plants vs. Zombies. I played it a lot. I've actually came back to it like a couple months ago just to kind of chill out and see what was up with it, just to get that sense of nostalgia. So potentially on a stream platform. And as for now, I'm gonna leave it at that. There was a lot of meme questions, a lot of questions that maybe to the general audience people wouldn't really understand. So maybe next time I'll include some of the meme ones, but I just really wanted to include some of the ones that really struck out to me that I wanted to answer here on this video. And I hope it wasn't too long. I hope I answered some of your guys' questions, and I hope to do another Q&A video in the future, especially since it's been quite a bit of time since these questions were asked. That's gonna do it for me, guys. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as slap that like button, hit the notification bell for whenever it is that I do actually put myself in a position where I record these damn videos. So thank you guys again for the continued support. I really hope that I could continue to put out content at a steady flow. But without further ado, I'm gonna end the video. Thank you guys so much for sticking by. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.